Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Shock Bulwark build for patch 9.0 Space Marine 2 using the Power Sword. Now the Bulwark is a ton of fun to spam AoE damage with stuff like emergency countermeasures, purity of purpose, and defensive advantage, and you also get extra value out of shock nades of this build using stuff like Shock and Awe. But before we get into the actual perk tree completely, I do want to talk about the melee weapon selection, which is the Power Sword. Now the Power Sword is probably the most entertaining weapon mechanically in this game, and the variant I've chosen for this build is the Block Power Sword. And for the perk tree setup, I do just take the perk here, Armored Strength first, moving into Master of Offense, which reads, after switching sword combat style, you deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds, cooldown is 10 seconds. Now in patch 9.0, they did actually fix the sword combat switch out of dodge into like a lunge attack, so really useful for that. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength for a 10% melee damage increase. Then we take the perk Tranquility, moving into a 10% flat damage bonus with melee onslaught. Then I pick up the perk here, Hard Target, and just move into like the major perk I should say, Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. Now Power Rake is one of the strongest abilities on this weapon to begin with, outside of things like Power Whirl, so having a 50% damage increase is very valuable here. Then we pick up the perk here, Extremis Slayer, and then Majora's Slayer, and then Terminus Slayer, because we really don't benefit off of Minora's Slayer all that much because this weapon already mops Minora's. And I just grab one of the perks here, Power Restoration or Speed Restoration. That's really up to you for more CHP regen. But to be honest, this weapon is not like super good for CHP regen anyways, but sometimes this can help. Now, if you want to take the balanced or fencing version, you can do that as well. It's really up to you. Either way, I would build them the same way in the perk tree, so that's really a choice you can make. Now for the secondary weapon selection, I do take the Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol once again, because in patch 9.0 they did buff this thing to have an absurd charge rate, and this thing is just amazing for stagger, CHP regen, and even damage. It is like the best secondary in the whole game currently, and on top of all of the other benefits, it also has AoE gun strikes, which can really help you mop up some warriors at times, especially in siege mode. So pretty top tier option. And for the perk tree, I just build it for ammo economy, because even though the Bulwark does have the perk down here, Auxiliary Reload, and melee kills of extremis level or higher enemies restore your secondary weapons ammo by 1 magazine, the Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol is still pretty ammo hungry, so building it this way still helps a lot. And you also get to pick up the perk here, Perpetual Velocity, for an even faster charge rate and a free 10% damage buff. So Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol, very powerful, though if you do want to use things like the Heavy Bolt Pistol, I'd just take the ammo variant and build it down the top tree. And if you're playing like the Neo Volkite, just build it this way, or you can go down the top. Like honestly, Neo Volkite's not terrible, but Plasma is just the best over all the other options currently. Now for the Bulwark perk tree selection, I do take Conviction first. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This is a very valuable perk for every class, but on Bulwark in particular, it helps a ton because you have a 30% increase starting HP, and on this build, we have no other tank perks besides Focus Restoration and like Glorious Shield, so having a lifeline of HP damage reduction is very strong for us, and even though some people may like Intimidating Aura more, I think Conviction just does a ton for this build in particular, which is why I take it. Next perk here is Shock and Awe. Enemies in a shock area take 25% more damage. This perk is not the strongest, but it does make defensive advantage better and emergency countermeasures better. And if you do have a tactical on your team with Secure Stockpile or something to give you back your shock nades, you get a ton more value out of this, and it's pretty useful for that, which is why I like to take it. And the next perk is Defensive Advantage. A perfectly timed parry or block creates a shock area for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. I do like this perk. You can actually get a lot of boss damage sometimes with this, especially when you stack it with things like emergency countermeasures and purity of purpose. Your AoE potential is kind of nuts. I do wish it had a shorter cooldown a little bit, maybe like a longer uptime, but either way, it's what we're taking today because this is the shock AoE spam build. Now for the team perk selection, I do take Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all squad members automatically restore 1 armor segment. Now armor in this game has damage caps that HP does not, and giving armor to your entire team has even extra value because you'll be able to give armor to classes that usually don't have a ton of armor restore, like Tactical in particular. This guy's pretty squishy, so Bulwark can really help him out with this perk. Now Advanced Conditioning and Effective Formation are by no means bad perks, but this one is just the best overall because it just generates like 6 armor per minute for your whole team, which is pretty crazy, especially in like a 3-hour siege match where that can come out to like tons of requisition points saved on things like armor boost. And since armor can reduce all melee damage to 0 regardless of how much is left, having that on a 30-second cooldown can like straight up save your life from bosses sometimes. So really powerful option. And we also get added benefit out of it with things like conviction, because it'll just give us more procs of this. So super strong pick, which is why I pretty much always take it now. Now for the gear perk tree, I do take Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in this area of effect. This is the best gear perk tree selection in this whole row here by far. Having this AoE is just so strong, and it does a deceptively high amount of damage to even bosses at times, will completely wipe Minoris and do significant damage to enemies like Majora's Tyranid Warriors and the Extremis like Lictors and stuff. Super strong, really saves your life, and when you stack it with things like Glorious Shield, you get even more value because of the increased duration. Now Glorious Shield is actually the next perk we take here as well, because it gives all squad members within the banner's area effect 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. So it simply makes your banners more valuable and gives you extra purpose out of Purity of Purpose, though obviously Invigorating Icon is better because any healing mechanic in this game is kind of busted, period. But I think Glorious Shield is way more fun and has a lot more synergy with the overall build, which is why I decided to take it here. Now the next perk I take is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%. You do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is the only form of no knockback on this build because we're not taking the signature perk down here, Armored Advance, so you kind of have to make sure you have this up, and all you have to do to actually activate this is just Shield Bash the air. You don't actually have to hit anybody, so pretty useful for that. You want to make sure like when the 10 seconds are out, like you reapply it, because otherwise you will get knocked around all the time. So if you do want to take the Armored Advance perk over emergency countermeasures to make it a little bit easier for no knockback, you can definitely do that. I just took this one because I'm trying to maximize shock. And that's kind of all there is for the actual perk tree here. Now for the prestige perks, I do take Auxiliary Reload first. Melee kills of Extremis level or higher enemies restores secondary weapons ammo by 1 magazine. This is amazing for ammo economy. It's definitely better in siege mode than operations. If you want to skip over this perk in operations, especially in a team for resilience, you definitely can, because Medicae Stims restoring 40% more HP is a super good perk, just makes the stims more valuable. But I am playing this on both siege mode and true solo, so Auxiliary Reload is a little bit better for that. Now the next perk here is Overcharge. Charge attack damage increases by 20%. This actually affects your Power Sword's Power Rake, which is really useful for us for extra damage, so pretty much always pick this up. Next perk I take is Powerful Shot. Range damage increases by 20%. A 20% range damage buff is pretty boring, but also very strong, so pretty much always pick this one up as well. And the next perk here is Masterful Defense. Ability Charge is restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. This perk is kind of busted for CDR cooldown, especially versus Chaos. A Soul Cannon Terminator or things like a Flamer can really pretty much restore your entire banner all on its own. Very powerful in both operations and siege mode, and really all CDR effects in this game are super valuable, so pretty much always take this perk. This is like one of the other reasons why the Thunder Hammer is not as good in the Bulwark, because you do lose your shield, and losing your shield means you're losing this perk, and losing this perk means you're getting fewer banners, which kind of sucks. And as for these other two perks, Standard Bearer and Emboldened Stand, these ones are not very good at all. Now, Standard Bearer does give you invulnerability for 2 seconds, but this doesn't really matter on a banner, because first of all, the banner pretty much makes you invulnerable to begin with, or at least gives you so much damage reduction that you don't really care, and you also aren't bannering enough to actually get like the full value out of this, so pretty much just take these instead. So that's pretty much all there is to the Shock Nade Bulwark spam build. And if you want to take a different melee weapon like the Chainsword or Thunder Hammer, I'd probably swap off of Overcharge for the Chainsword, because Full Throttle does basically nothing for you. And for the Thunder Hammer, I would swap out the Masterful Defense perk for something like Resilience instead, because again, this perk does literally nothing for you on a Thunder Hammer because you lose your shield. So definitely keep note of that. If you want to take a different secondary weapon like the Heavy Bolt Pistol or Neo Volkite, you definitely can, like I mentioned previously. It really is up to you, but the rate of fire Plasma Pistol is just the overall best in the game currently, especially for siege mode, and this build can definitely perform pretty well on both operations, teams, true solo. It's really whatever you want to play, because the Bulwark really is just that guy, and he's a very powerful class in general. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always guys, thank you for watching, and take it easy. I actually got him on the staircase, look at that. him. Ow. But the armor advance is better with this. Kind of like what I'm killing right now.
That silenced the Tunit's final chitter.
Can't see shit.
Waste nothing, brothers.
Should probably be able to hit him with that, right?
Our banner awaits our courier.
Alright, well, I'll land eventually. There we go.
It's your elixir. Our glorious blood strengthens our...
I want them to get rid of my armor. Thank you. Well, that's a good purity of purpose plus emergency countermeasure there.
Skitter to the grave. No foe can hide here. Ammunition here. We crush the ravenous brood beneath our trample the chittering parasites.
Does a lot of
Watch for
damage.
psychic onslaught.
Oh, look at that. Alright, I need a banner or something here. Well, that's not what I need, for sure.
Restoring vitality. Where shall I plant this flag?
Unless we have all the electricity going on, huh?
Tyranid Hanma destroyed.
Can't see a thing. Like,
Skitter to the grave.
okay.
Waste nothing, brothers. Crush the ravenous brood.
Imagine if the current effects had friendly fire. There have been a lot more dead warriors in there, barreled over.
That swarm of demons.
It's this big. That's the real question.
Bask in the Emperor's glory. Stop that target from riding fresh warriors. Generator is running.
Alright, well.
The cannons are ready. Brothers, it retaliates.
I'm just gonna kill them. I don't even care about these guys.
System link has been established. All specs connected.
I'm sure the glory shield purity of purpose is pretty good. Alright, one more. Oh, it's the final boss. It's an erased sword warrior. Look at this. Alright, dead. Okay, I couldn't really see him through that, to be honest. 17 Extremis didn't feel like that. We also skipped one at the end.